May 22, 1968. Somewhere in the North Atlantic, 400 miles southwest of the Azores, a U.S. Navy nuclear submarine is making its way home. The USS Scorpion, a skipjack-class attack submarine, has just completed a 6-month deployment in the Mediterranean. The crew is eager to return to Norfolk, Virginia, but at 18:30 hours, the submarine sends its last routine message. Report of position arriving Norfolk 27th May. Then, silence. No distress call, no SOS, just the cold, empty void of the ocean. Hours turn into days. The Navy begins to worry. By May 27th, the day Scorpion was due in port, the worry turns into dread. A massive search operation is launched. But the Atlantic is vast, and the submarine is small. It would take 5 months to find the wreck, lying under 10,000 feet of water. The question that haunts the Navy to this day: what caused the USS Scorpion to sink? The USS Scorpion was no stranger to danger. Commissioned in 1960, she was built for speed and stealth, capable of diving deeper than 1,000 feet. Her nuclear reactor gave her unlimited range, and her torpedoes could sink any surface ship. But by 1968, the Scorpion was showing her age. The submarine had undergone a major overhaul in 1966, but problems persisted. Leaks in the hydraulic system, faulty valves, a reactor that sometimes overheated. The crew, many of them young and inexperienced, worked long hours in cramped, stifling conditions. The commanding officer, Commander Francis Slattery, was a seasoned submariner, but he had only taken command 5 months earlier. The Scorpion was scheduled for another overhaul in 1969, but the Navy needed her at sea. The Cold War was at its peak, and every submarine was needed to track Soviet submarines. So the Scorpion sailed, carrying a secret mission that would take her close to the Soviet Union. There were warning signs. In the months before her final voyage, the Scorpion had experienced a series of mechanical failures. A faulty air conditioning compressor caused a fire, a hydraulic leak in the torpedo room, the sonar system malfunctioned. But perhaps the most alarming sign was the condition of the submarine's battery. The Scorpion's battery was old and prone to overheating. In a submarine, the battery provides power when the reactor is shut down, and any malfunction could be catastrophic. The Navy's own records show that the battery had been flagged for replacement, but the order was never fulfilled. According to declassified documents, a Navy inspector noted that the Scorpion was in the worst material condition of any submarine in the Atlantic Fleet. But the Navy was short on submarines, and the Scorpion was needed. The message was clear: sail now, fix later. That decision, it is believed, may have sealed the fate of 99 men. The moment that made disaster inevitable may have occurred on May 21, 1968, when the Scorpion was ordered to conduct a surveillance mission near the Soviet naval base at Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky. The mission was classified, and the crew was not told the full details. But the order meant that the Scorpion would have to operate at high speed and deep depth, putting additional stress on her aging systems. According to some accounts, the Scorpion was also ordered to test a new experimental torpedo. The Mark 37 torpedo had a history of problems, including a tendency to explode prematurely. The Navy has denied that any such test was conducted, but declassified documents suggest otherwise. Whatever the exact nature of the order, it forced the Scorpion to push beyond her limits. The crew, exhausted and overworked, may have missed a critical warning. The reactor, the battery, the torpedo, any one of them could have failed. But it was the combination that proved fatal. What physically happened to the USS Scorpion remains a subject of debate. The official Navy investigation concluded that a mechanical failure, likely a battery explosion or a torpedo accident, caused the submarine to sink. But acoustic evidence tells a different story. The Navy's underwater listening system, SOSUS, recorded a series of sounds at the time of the sinking. The first was a loud bang, followed by a second, more intense sound, consistent with the implosion of a submarine's hull. The timing suggests that the Scorpion sank in 2 stages. First, an explosion, possibly a torpedo warhead detonating, caused the submarine to flood and plunge beyond its crush depth. Then, at around 2,000 feet, the hull collapsed under the immense pressure. The implosion would have been instantaneous, killing everyone on board. The wreckage, when discovered, showed that the submarine had broken into two sections, with the torpedo room completely destroyed. The reactor, however, remained intact. The immediate response was a cover-up. The Navy initially claimed that the Scorpion had sunk due to unknown causes, but internal documents reveal a different story. According to declassified memos, the Navy knew within hours that the Scorpion had suffered a catastrophic explosion. Yet they waited 5 days to announce that the submarine was missing. During that time, they scrambled to retrieve classified equipment from the wreckage. The Navy also secretly monitored Soviet communications, suspecting that a Soviet submarine had attacked the Scorpion. But the evidence pointed to an internal accident. The cover-up, it is believed, was designed to protect the Navy's reputation and to hide the fact that the Scorpion was sent to sea in a dangerously degraded condition. The families of the 99 men were told little. They were not even informed of the search until days after it began. The Navy's official report, released in 1970, was heavily censored. The full truth, it seems, would remain buried in the deep. The full horror became clear when the wreckage was finally located in October 1968. The search, led by the Navy's deep-sea submersible Trieste II, discovered the Scorpion sitting upright on the ocean floor, 10,000 feet below the surface. The submarine was broken into two main sections with debris scattered over a wide area. The torpedo room was completely destroyed, suggesting a massive internal explosion. But the most chilling discovery was the condition of the crew. According to reports, the bodies were found in various states of decay, some still at their stations. The Navy decided to leave the wreck in place, a tomb for the 99 men. But the mystery deepened when the Navy conducted a second investigation in 1969, which concluded that the explosion was caused by a torpedo. The question remained, why did the torpedo explode? The answer, some believe, lies in the Navy's own negligence. The Scorpion was a time bomb, and the Navy knew it. The human cost of the Scorpion disaster was immense. 99 men died, leaving behind families who never received a full explanation. The Navy's official casualty assistance program was criticized for its lack of transparency. Many families were told that their loved ones died instantly, but the truth may be more horrifying. Some evidence suggests that the submarine sank in stages, meaning that some crew members may have survived the initial explosion only to drown or be crushed as the submarine descended. The Navy's refusal to raise the wreck or recover the bodies added to the grief. The families were left to imagine the final moments of their husbands, fathers, and sons. The disaster also had a broader impact on the Navy. It exposed flaws in submarine safety and maintenance, leading to reforms. But for the families of the Scorpion, the reforms came too late. The wreck remains a war grave, a silent reminder of the cost of the Cold War. The cover-up and reckoning came decades later. In 2012, a declassified Navy report revealed that the Scorpion had been ordered to conduct a secret mission near the Soviet Union, codenamed Bumpy Road. The report also confirmed that the submarine had a history of mechanical problems and that the Navy had ignored warnings. But the most damning evidence came from a former Navy officer who claimed that the Scorpion was sunk by a Soviet submarine in retaliation for the loss of the Soviet submarine K-129, which had sunk earlier that year. The Navy has denied this, but the theory persists. In 2018, a documentary by the Discovery Channel presented new acoustic evidence suggesting that the Scorpion was attacked. The Navy has refused to reopen the investigation. The truth, it seems, is still classified. The families of the 99 men continue to demand answers, but the Navy maintains that the cause of the sinking is unknown. The Scorpion remains one of the Cold War's most enduring mysteries. The legacy of the USS Scorpion is a cautionary tale about the dangers of nuclear submarines and the cost of secrecy. The disaster led to improvements in submarine safety, including better maintenance protocols and more rigorous inspections. But the fundamental question remains, what really happened? The Navy's official story is that the Scorpion was lost due to an accidental torpedo explosion. But the evidence suggests that the Navy knew more than it let on. The Scorpion's wreckage, still lying on the ocean floor, is a silent witness to the tragedy. For the families, the mystery may never be fully resolved. But the story of the Scorpion serves as a reminder that the Cold War was fought not only in the halls of power, but also in the dark depths of the ocean, where 99 men made the ultimate sacrifice. If you want to explore more hidden disasters and untold stories, subscribe to Nuclear Disasters. We bring you the facts, the science, and the human cost. Subscribe now.